And we are back.
We back.
So, we're going to wrap this shit up here real quick.
We might as well. We ended on a good solid note.
Hell yeah. Just remember, guys, final thought. Regardless, right or wrong, whether, it is what it is, just, you get pulled over. I don't give a fuck what color you are. Listen, be polite, do what the police officer says, don't be confrontational. You want questions answered, you want to speak your piece, you can get a free lawyer. The lawyer will fucking, ask them questions for you.
The other thing that it has been the most sound advice is that I got from my dad, and in dealing with if you get pulled over. Side of the road is not the courthouse.
Exactly.
And that's not the time to have the legal argument. Again, it's like arguing when you're married. Even if you're right, you're wrong.
Or arguing with the ref. It's still a fucking out.
Right.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna change. Just because you see it different.
That's it. That is fucking it. There's no simpler way of putting it. You just...
Which gets back to what I was saying about, just seriously, there's a time and a place for things. And there's... What I see lacking so much is just fucking one, common sense, and two, goddamn manners.
Yes.
And I'm not talking, make sure you use the right fork at dinner and fucking, nobody gives a fuck about that shit anymore unless you live in that kind of society or some bullshit.
Just be decent to a motherfucker.
Yep.
You don't want somebody coming to your job, being a dick to you. Whether you are right or wrong, they're still being a dick to you, and you're doing what you're doing.
But also remember, too,
they're doing a job most of the time.
If you're in one of those lifestyles where you're on the other side of the law, you've entered yourself in the game,
right?
And you're gonna have those encounters with law enforcement, and you already know you're doing wrong.
You know the rules of the game. Don't fucking bitch when you get when you take a point.
Everybody in this room, at one point in time, we've all played that game to one extent or another.
Yep.
Some deeper than others, some longer than others, but we've all played the game.
For sure.
And we all know, when the jig is up. You know when they got the drop on you.
Right.
It's not the movies. You're not going to pull some slick move and get away. This is reality. And then you got to deal with it in court.
Right. Be polite, be respectful, let everybody get home safely.
And again, that doesn't mean you have to let your rights be trampled on, but you can, and I have, and I know, and you know what, it's not my color because I know,
for the
you know who taught me how to actually speak properly about enforcing my rights without infuriating police officers? A 70-year-old black man who has plenty of experience having to do it. And by remaining polite, respectful, he has avoided, getting billy clubbed to death.
I want to put this out here to these youngins. For you guys who want to run from the cops,
don't just
let me give you a little bit of information there. Unless you have a stolen vehicle, once they run that number, they know where you live. You could run with that car no matter what. They know your mama's house. They know your baby mama's house. They know
all your known
you're
associates.
Whether you want to get out the car and try to run and leave the car, which is stupid because 90% of the time, everything that traces back to where you have been or where you were going is in that car. Or whether you want to take off with the car, they don't even really have to follow you unless you're a threat, driving through you might fucking hurt somebody. They could actually just wait at your mama house.
Or show up tomorrow.
Or go to your job. Or go to wherever you hang at. Yep. Somebody act like they're friends with your mama just to wait for you to come around. So don't be stupid. If you got that big target there, let it be. You're caught. You are fucking caught.
What's that saying about losing the battle, but winning the war or some shit?
Pick and choose your fights.
There's nothing wrong with the strategic retreat.
Right, exactly. A strategic retreat, doesn't mean you lost the battle. It don't mean you're right or you're wrong. It means you live to fight another day.
Just my most recent experience, I could have handled that differently, and I could have gone to jail that night. Or I did what I did. I went home that night. I ended up in front of one of the coolest judges I've ever been in front of. And really... traffic stop. I was intentional. I wasn't like grossly speeding, but I was speeding. I said, and I'm sorry about that. I honestly didn't realize I was. And when I showed, and then he asked about the other stuff. I showed him the proof, and he was like, "Can you pay a fine today? Depends on how much." He told me how much. I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay." Then PBJ on the speeding. As long as you don't get in any trouble between now and when it expires, you'll be fine. Just pay the fine. I said, "When does it expire?" And he looks at his watch. He goes, 4 o'clock today. All because I just said, "Yeah, I fucked up. I did it. But this one I didn't, or I wouldn't have been driving, and I have the proof."
Silver lining to that story is all of our children watched their father get arrested
on the side of the road.
On the side of the road and taken in a police car. And our youngest boy burst into tears, proclaiming how he now no longer wanted to be a bank robber. So, the silver linings.
Matthew did that?
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember they putting someone his knives in use.
Yeah, I mean, because how guys I carry like multi-tools and pocket knives and all that kind of stuff. And
Like 3 days
they were like, "We're going to give you a minute to go ahead and give anything. Just, if I were you, I'd just bring your phone and your ID. Just give everything else to your wife."
And they let me drive the car away, which they didn't have to.
Yep.
They could have impounded the car.
And listen, that was one where, man, the officer who arrested me, because in Maryland, if you're out of state with a suspended, you have to be arrested so that you can be, tied to the court that way. They released me on my own recog, but she was cool as shit. She didn't even want to be doing it once she realized what was going on, and they're like, "Yeah, they talked to her too," and they're like, "We believe you," but
they gave him a ride back to from the city the court was in. Gave him a ride
They
back.
gave me a ride to court because Transpo, something happened at the courthouse.
It was New Year's Day.
Transpo wasn't going to come around now till 4 or 5 o'clock, and that would have meant I'd have to stay over to the next day. So she goes, "Come on, I'll give you a ride." I went down, saw the magistrate, got released on my own recog. She gave me a ride back to the station so that she could come pick me up. Just like we weren't staying far from the station. Like, they were cool as fuck.
I think they just wanted to
treated
get
me
you the fuck
right.
out of there because they wanted to go home for New Year's.
Right?
But also, I didn't give them any reason.
I think he became Facebook friends with the cop.
Yeah. We talked about how the neighborhood changed since we used to live there. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes back to what I said, you get a lot further. I mean, even if the cops are being a dick, it's kind of hard to be a dick to somebody who's killing you with kindness. Yes, sir, no, sir, I'm sorry, sir.
I found out she was pissed at her husband because for Christmas the only jewelry she got was a new pair of handcuffs to use at work.
It's practical.
I don't know. All I know is that my little naive dumbass was freaking the fuck out because my husband just got arrested on New Year's Day and I didn't know what the fuck to do.
You can't panic. You panic
I
and
wasn't
dumb
panicking.
shit
I was just
happens.
like scared as fuck. Like, what do I do? I don't know what to do.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The first couple of times I got arrested and got put in a situation, I panicked.
Because you don't know what to expect.
I made them,
It's because you don't know what to expect.
Right.
If you know what to expect, most of the panic's gone. Movies I know aren't reality, but when we were watching Taken, that was one of the things that was, to me, very realistic in that movie, and it's something that I would do even in that situation.
They are going to take
when he was like, not bullshit, everything's going to be okay, sweetie. Listen, they are going to take you. Prepare yourself for this. This is, I try and do that at a level in situations like that with my family so they know what to expect. Listen, like when they started, when it was just the one cop and she's like, "Let me just run your license. If you're cool, I'm just going to give you a verbal warning and you're on your way." Well, 5 minutes goes by and then I saw a second cruiser pull up. I looked at her and I went, I am going to get arrested today. I'm getting arrested. You need to know I'm getting arrested. Like, it's...
We were on our way to breakfast with his dad and his dad's
Stepmom.
wife.
Yeah, and Sally, I remember that. And then we went back to Grandma's after he got arrested, and we were playing hide and seek, and I was hiding on top of
Yep. Because we were supposed to leave to go back to Maryland that day. I mean, Ohio.
Yep. So I guess the moral of the story is, don't act a fucking fool. You will greatly increase your chances of not only staying alive, but getting out of some shit you really didn't need to be in. That being said, we're gonna wrap this shit up there. Shout out to all our new listeners, all our new followers, Sorry Souls, and everybody fucking else. Go to our Upside Down Studios page to check out all the people we love and the shit that we doing.
Check out, make sure you hit the Upside Down Studios page on Instagram. The What the Fuck Wednesday. It's What the Fuck Wednesday podcast. And you can follow me, Jared Rogers, on Instagram. Keep you up to date on everything going on here. Plus with our friends over at Eargasm. Local shows that should be coming up this summer. We'll have a good line on those. Maybe a festival or two we might get out to.
And Full Album Friday's coming up.
Hell yeah,
Friday's coming
motherfuckers
up on
God.
Friday.
There you go.
Can we maybe try and put together a S&G show? Maybe sometime in May?
And no. We'll figure out something.
We gotta be able to do something in May somehow.
Yeah, we'll figure out something.
Like one
Fuck
night.
yeah.
We have an entire almost, like, even if we take to the 15th of May to plan it for the end of the month, we have almost a month to plan one night.
Right.
Hell yeah. So that being said, y'all be safe. We out.
Peace.
Peace.
Night, y'all.